What's going on? Welcome back to the Gooniverse channel. My name is Sid. What's your name?
What's going on, everyone? My name is Mosh.
Yeah.
What up?
Like, I know it's weird. We're finally back for like the second time this year together. I think it's in the work. Obviously, Thanos would be proud because it's perfectly balanced as it should be. Because the last time we were together, we did a DC review. Now we're doing a Marvel review.
That's right.
Yeah. So the movie in question obviously is Spider-Man: No Way Home. I actually saw it opening night, and Mosh, you just saw it yesterday, right?
Yesterday. Yep. And it was packed theater as well, which is it's like going back in the past to the time where we used to before COVID see that in packed theater.
Was this your first movie you saw in theaters since the pandemic, or?
I've seen a couple others like Black Widow or one of the Christopher Nolan movies, Tenet, I guess.
Oh, you saw that in the theaters?
Yeah, but most movies have not been in theaters. But this one I particularly got to see.
Yeah. This was my first movie in the theaters since I think 2019. I think the last movie I may have seen, I think, is Endgame. I think that's the last movie I saw in theaters.
Oh wow, that's like a couple years now.
Yeah, is Endgame or something else? I wanted to say, I thought it was Alita Battle Angel, but Endgame came after Alita, so I think it was Endgame. But it was good to go back into theaters, So before we get into it, obviously, I think the disclaimer, the obvious one, this is a spoiler talk. So If you did not watch the movie, this is your warning. It's up to you, but it's your warning.
Spoiler warning given.
Yep. So, and I would really recommend people see the movie because it was dope. So yeah, before we get into that, I mean, what did you think about the movie? Since it's more fresh on your mind, I want to hear what you thought.
Yeah, it's definitely fresh. So some quick thoughts right away. By far the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, like not even a question on the Tom Holland part, the three he did. And I'm not including Civil War or something or Avengers because they're not Spider-Man movies, but he's in it.
He's in them.
Yeah, but the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, I think we can clearly say it's the best Spider-Man movie, like of all of them, from the Tobey Maguires and etc. I mean, some people are going a little bit far and saying the best comic book movie, etc. I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes a little bit. It was awesome. It was incredible, but I don't want to already say, all right, it's the top of it's a cream.
I don't know if I don't know if I would say best comic book movie ever, but it's definitely up there for sure. It is up there. I think that obviously all thanks kind of does go to Sam Raimi because he started the whole friggin' Spider-Man in film, and then it trickled all the way down to Marvel. I mean, obviously, I think the performances all were really good. I think I actually saw a review, someone saying that this is probably Tom Holland's best performance as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
because literally in every other movie, in all the other two movies, he's like happy-go-lucky. He's like, hey, what's up, y'all? I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, there's actually like shit hits the fan, and I think I guess we'll talk about it a little later, but I think now a lot, Tom Holland actually in an interview said that, this movie actually the stakes are much higher than in Endgame, which I don't disagree with that. Because in Endgame, like the previous three phases were all building to like a tangible, entity that they finally have to face. And here it's time that's pretty much, screwing over everybody. So that's going to be interesting to see how whatever incarnation of the Avengers, if there is even an incarnation of the Avengers this time around, comes together and stops it. I think it's just going to be more and more kind of just ragtag teams mashed up, put together, and trying to stop it. It's like, stuff like that. But gosh, where do we begin now? Like, I mean, do we talk about plot points? Do we talk about like all the cameos? Do we talk about,
Yeah,
I don't know.
There are so many ways to talk about it, and I did make I had to organize my thoughts on how to address and everything. And yeah, like you mentioned, I've already heard other people describe this as the end game for Spider-Man movies, which, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And since this spoiler talk, we can go ahead and say all three of them are in here. All three Spider-Mans that we've ever seen in movies are in here. Tobey Maguire, Andrew, and Tom, and that is a dream come true. And like we have an actual Spider-Verse in real life. And kudos to Sony for they have rights to Spider-Man, but they allowed this to happen partnering with Disney and Marvel.
That was great, yeah.
And so just there, that's all three of them are there, and like a lot of people are saying, I was surprised at how long they're there. Like they're part of the movie. They're not just a cameo at the end.
Yeah, they're not just going at the end helping Tom Holland and leaving. Yeah, I think I don't know about you, but when they first both showed up, the theater just completely lost it. Everybody in the theater
went crazy. Yep.
Yeah, everyone just went crazy, and I think both of them had good roles, particularly Tobey Maguire. I think he, had a really good role. He was almost like the wise man of the group, which is interesting. I thought that was really cool. By the way, I thought we were going to talk about I honestly thought we were going to leave the other two, these two big cameos towards the latter half of the video, but that's okay. We could talk about it now. It's fine. Because that is the biggest, that's like the elephant in the room, I guess. But
spoiler talk, yeah.
Oh shit, man. I was just like, I'm not going to lie. I was more excited for Tobey than I was for Andrew. But both were it was just good to see both of them.
Have you gone back and watched the original movies recently at all?
I need to do that. I need to go back. I probably need to just watch all of them.
So I did a rewatch of the original trilogy with Tobey. Mm-hmm. And before this, I did skip the Andrew Garfield ones because I just didn't like them as much. And I'd rather just go straight to Tom Holland's movies. I gotta say, dude, what these company studios bringing the original actors and characters that we grew up with. If you're 35 and younger, like this is your childhood come back to life. It's actually incredible. Like, and they know they're gonna profit off this nostalgia bait thing. And I was like, damn it, like, because I'm going back and watching, like, these were such good movies. They were really good. We grew up with them, and now I'm over 30 and I'm watching them again, and I do see them differently because I'm now have experienced way more in life. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was a teenager, so what the hell did I know about what Peter's going through and whatever the struggles? I'm able to really view from like a higher level that the journey that Peter goes through and Tobey's Peter goes through and etc. and how he faces the all the realities of struggling as a kid in New York City, a student working as a photographer and being a superhero. Like, that's incredible. And so seeing Tobey, I was very pleased, and he is that mentor, older Spider-Man, and I not just seeing him in it as Spider-Man again, but seeing him period. Like, I haven't seen this dude in years.
I don't know. I don't know if he took a hiatus or if he was just doing maybe more low budget movies or something. I don't know. I mean, I think Tobey Maguire, I think he always acted in very offbeat kind of films. I think honestly the one movie, Spider-Man, was probably his most kind of normal film that he ever acted in. I think acting in movies like Pleasantville and stuff like that. If you haven't watched that, definitely, it's a very interesting movie. I should probably go back and watch it again, but because I actually watched it because of college. I had to pick a I had to be like, one of my assignments was pick a scene or from a movie that's a very good example of color, and Pleasantville is a perfect example of color because they're like a black and white world. It's very interesting. Anyway, but I think Tobey Maguire, obviously he looks a little older, and he actually, he is older, but and I just loved kind of his little kind of gems that he drops for both Andrew and Tom.
Not to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Anyone who's gonna watch this would actually appreciate it more having watched the trilogy again, if you haven't already seen it, because it's now you remember. Oh yeah, this guy fought Green Goblin origin story, fought Dr. Octopus in the second one, but then Doc kind of redeemed himself, and then him and MJ. The third one, quality way down, and he went through that silly thing and the symbiote deal, and then they left off with him and Mary Jane, etc. That's in your head that he went through all that, and now through the MCU and magic and etc. and multiverse, he is here, and he is a mentor to way younger, new, different MCU Spider-Man. Like, wow, like that is beautiful. And
another good thing that I like. Go ahead. What were you saying?
And anyone who is our age, millennials or whatever, who grew up with those Spider-Man movies, like that resonates to us, because it's like, okay, new generation coming in. We enjoyed that at our time. Here's the new guys, and we're excited to see this transition, and so I love seeing that.
Yeah, I think even Toby and Andrew, I loved a lot of I love their interaction, because like I think that there was one joke that was so meta, because like Andrew was feeling bad about it, because they were talking about their I love that Tom Holland and freaking Andrew Garfield were so surprised that,
wait, you don't have web shooters? It's like, no, you guys do.
And that was so that I love that part. I love that they acknowledged so many different things.
Everything
that the fan, like for example, like obviously Andrew Garfield, unfortunately, is kind of one of the more not hated, but kind of the one that people thought was underwhelming. At least his movies were, and he, of course, because freaking Tom Holland's talking about fighting Thanos in space, and Tobey Maguire was talking about aliens. He's like, oh, I fought this alien. And Tom Holland's like, oh, I fought an alien out in space and everything. And then
it's like, what?
Andrew Garfield's like, oh, you guys did all these cool things. I'm just a nobody. I suck. And Tobey Maguire's like, no, you don't suck.
You're amazing.
You're amazing. Yeah, that was great. I love that.
AKA Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was so meta, but it was so cool.
So on that, this movie kind of, whether people didn't like him, the movies or him, it basically makes you appreciate Andrew Garfield way more. And I know I did. Now, you could say a movie is good or bad, but the acting and of an actor or character can be independent of how good a movie is, for sure. Mm-hmm. And Garfield is charismatic. He's very funny. He's very charming, and like it really shows in this movie when he was dialoguing with everybody else, and it was beautiful. And it kind of he's the underrated one. He is, because his movies are not as good. Quite frankly, I am not a fan of watching them, etc. But it's fine. But he himself, phenomenal, highly underrated, very charismatic. I love him.
So the people don't hate Andrew Garfield; they just hated the movie he was in. That's all. I think it. I mean, a couple other things I wanted to mention. Like, I loved how Andrew was talking about, not being able to save Gwen Stacy, and then in the climactic fight, which I guess we'll talk about the villains in just a minute, but this climactic fight, MJ is about to fall, similar to Gwen Stacy, but this time, Tom Holland Spider-Man is trying to go for her, but he can't. So friggin' Andrew Garfield comes in for the save, and it's
Dude, he
like a
got redemption. That was redemption.
Yes, there was a reaction in theater for that.
So on that, basically all fan theories, almost every fan theory before the movie came out is correct. I mean, because that was a theory going on forever that he would be the one saving her, and he sure hell did. And I'm wondering if is that because like that's what the studios like, they want to see specifically him catch her, because this is the reason his character went through this super emotional time in his movie, and that could be the redemption he gets. And oh my god, that is heartwarming. And I do want to mention that this movie is the most heartfelt MCU movie I've seen, maybe besides Endgame or something. But they, you know how MCU movies always have to make jokes and etc., and it's like, forget about feeling actual like emotional times. Which the original movies are emotional, like you can feel it, like it's they don't spend times on just jokes and blah blah blah, a little humor, but MCU movies have to make jokes all the time, and they don't let the character really go through emotional
like times. I mean, this is Spider-Man, so I get it that there were some jokes in there. I love the joke. One joke I loved was about Toby's back. In Spider-Man 2. Yeah, in Spider-Man 2, right? Yep. He loses his powers and he tries to get it back by jumping off, and he hurts his back. And then obviously, Andrew Garfield pops his back into place. That was really cool. I like that.
Man, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I mean, just the interaction. Was just really nice. It was almost like a mini Avengers team up. And speaking of which, he talks about being in the Avengers, and I love that they acknowledge that there is no Avengers.
Toby's like, what are they?
Are you in a rock band? I was like, oh wow. I like that they acknowledge that they didn't just.
So props. I say kudos to the writers, because it's like they took every single Spider-Man movie and they took all the MCU movies and they connected every single dot possible, like acknowledging each other's existences, acknowledging the fact that they're in their own universe that doesn't have any other Marvel characters except their villains, and that's it. Like, that is amazing. And that's kudos to the writers. I feel like it's it is fan service, but it's also it is a well-made crafted story. But I feel like it's they fan service the hell out of this, and it's like, which I'm okay with, because that's
they did it, but they used it properly. It wasn't just like you said, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire just popped in for a cup of coffee and they're on screen. No, they actually are. They actually have an integral part to the movie. I think there were other cameos, by the way. I want to get into that. One cameo that I find was underrated was this guy right here. Well, his alter ego, Matt Murdock.
That was amazing.
That was cool. So, I mean, I know in the Hawkeye series, I know Wilson Fisk is like the, revealed as the big bad, which is cool. I'm sorry, I don't know if you saw the Hawkeye show, but
it's okay. Go ahead.
I didn't watch it either. I just saw stuff on the internet.
I haven't seen it. I did see that. I haven't seen the show, but I have also seen the actor who plays him say that. So
I didn't see it. I don't know. I'm sorry, but never cared much for Hawkeye.
Now that leads me. What you just said leads me to this question: can we even watch movies now without leaks or spoilers? I feel like it's almost impossible in the world we live in. Like, with social media and all this thing.
There's going to be some guy who decides, I'm just going to leak all this stuff because he's doing a service, or she, and you don't discriminate. But, I think it's definitely harder to watch movies without, knowing something for sure. I was fortunate enough to not be spoiled. The only thing I saw was that before going into the movie, was that there's 2 post-credit scenes, and we'll talk about that towards the end. But it was it is definitely a little bit harder to watch.
I'd say it's infinitely harder, because
yeah.
if you're on social media and you follow Marvel news or what DC pages, anything related to that, maybe even if you don't, you'd have to not follow anything related to like media or entertainment to not see it, you know. And even like if you're comicbook.com or something, or IGN, these big, you know, media networks, they even share stuff that's maybe not entire spoilers, but kind of like spoilers, which can open the door to something that is
plot details. Definitely plot details, and it's like a gateway to spoiler territory. Absolutely.
So it's weird, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I am, you know, excited to see what this guy has to offer in the MCU. I mean, now that we've seen that basically Daredevil and, you know, everybody, just making sure it doesn't fall. Daredevil and everybody is actually, and every single person, and I guess this means by extension, everyone in like all the Marvel, all the Netflix shows are officially part of the MCU now. So
canon.
Yeah, like that should be interesting, you know. So I mean, I don't know, maybe it's only a matter of time before Jessica Jones or Luke Cage or Iron Fist show up, or even the Punisher. Like, I would love to see the Punisher come in at some point, for sure.
So that's an interesting question. That's like another video probably. But it basically is the question of what's the future of those Netflix characters, and how, because they're all canceled from what I understand,
right?
And though they were great or whatever, but Disney, who owns Marvel, it owns the characters. It, you know, they were really gritty and violent and dark and adult shows. So how are they going to go about those characters that are darker and grittier in their universe?
So I mean,
that's
like,
maybe another video.
True. I mean, one thing on that, they are doing a Moon Knight TV show with Oscar Isaac, and Moon Knight is basically just a much more, well, I mean, Batman is pretty freaking violent, but Moon Knight is a much, like, I guess, a more merciless Batman. So, I mean, if they're willing to do that, I mean, there may be potentially, you know, a lot more, the violence may be a lot more, you know, increased and more volatile in this show, because Moon Knight, you have to make it like that. So, I mean, if they're willing to make a Moon Knight TV show, I don't see why, you know, Daredevil can't exist in the same universe, or even the Punisher. Well, no, Punisher's fine. I think the only person they may not do is Deadpool, just because he swears too much. But that could
Deadpool, be. It's okay. Well, that could be a whole other video. We don't.
No. I just,
those are cool ideas.
Yeah. And as far as, let's talk about the villains, though. I loved Alfred Molina, man, as Dr. Octavius.
He still got it.
Yeah, it didn't feel like he stopped. It didn't feel like he had to get back into the role. It was great. And I love that he. Oh, you're doing the arms. Like, I was like, what is he doing? Yeah. I loved the fact that he actually turned good. You know, like really early off, and that was really interesting, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Otto Octavius was a good guy, and then his arms took control of him, the AI. So.
Yeah, and in the Spider-Man 2, I saw more recently, he is just a scientist. All he wants is, like a lot of science-based, which apparently every villain is science-based here, except, you know, whatever Doctor Strange does. But he's just a scientist who wants to help the world by this invention of nuclear fission or whatever, right? With the sun thing
in the palm of my hand.
And those arms, he had the chip which gets fried, and now they are in control of him, and that manipulates his mind. And that's actually what the next villain we'll talk about goes into as well, Goblin. But so in Spider-Man 2, the end, like, Toby has the conversation like with him, you know, you're a great man, you're a great scientist, you want to help the world, and blah blah blah, you're not a killer, you're not a this. He actually kind of gets him back in control of his head. In this movie, when Holland learns all about this, they use science to help his science problem, and now he's actually just a you know, redeemed character. It was awesome.
I mean, that was cool. I mean, I do think that although I think it was a little stronger in Spider-Man 2 for him to actually like really gain control of his arms versus, using a chip, which I mean, it's called the inhibitor chip. That's what I remember that much because,
Yeah.
he says, that's why I have this inhibitor chip to control me, to control them and whatnot. And I mean, basically, yeah, he makes the, friggin', Spider-Man, Peter makes a new inhibitor chip basically. And I think it made sense for this movie, but I did think that it made Otto feel a lot stronger in Spider-Man 2, that he was able to actually, without having that, he was able to, in the end, have control of those arms by himself. I thought that was cool, but I totally still dug the fact that Otto Octavius was really good. Although I will say his appearance definitely felt like a bit more of a cameo than the Spider-Man, right? Than some of the other villains. Some of the other villains, they definitely I felt like they had more meaty roles, especially, I guess we can get into it right now, especially Green Goblin. Oh my God. That was, and obviously Willem Dafoe is a tremendous actor, and he did such a great job. And again, he also was able to get into that role, just like that. By the way, Aunt May dies. She does die in this movie.
Rest in peace, Aunt May.
Yeah. And it's funny because going back to the other two Spider-Man, they talk about it while they're making all these cures for the villains. So other villains that are there are Jamie Foxx's Electro, by the way. The Lizard.
I was gonna.
Yeah. Sorry, but I didn't mean to.
So, no, let's not jump too far before, like, we're on the villains now, right? So, social media is already going crazy about specifically Goblin, because people are going like, oh, he's the best villain ever now, and he's better than Thanos. I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes a bit. He is amazing. He's still got it, and it is funny that like, this clearly, like, Holland doesn't know him, obviously, and when he meets them, and he just knows he's from the other universe. And it's funny that he just very easily, like, gullible. It's kind of like your teenage, a little bit like naivete, like, you just like, well, and you gotta love Spider-Man in general. Like, they look for the greater good, and they really, even if it bites them in the back, etc. But yeah, that was very emotional when it's clearly Goblin is still Goblin, and he's not reformed Norman, and attacks everyone, and unfortunately poor Aunt May gets caught there, and then it makes me realize that is this Spider-Man's Uncle Ben, and I didn't know that they were going to go that route. I thought they already did that, but this is actually kind of his character development. It's required. It's necessary. It's his Uncle Ben. Everyone else had the Gwen Stacy for Andrew Garfield, and obviously Uncle Ben. So this is Tom Holland's same connection there.
Exactly. So that is so true, and that's kind of what made him Spider-Man, from basically Spider-Boy to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I really also loved that. Also, the MJ and Ned were a lot more integral characters. They weren't just there to crack one-liners. Like Zendaya, no one talks about Zendaya's performance. She did really good in this movie.
She's awesome.
She did a fantastic job. I always knew her as like the Disney Channel girl, so I didn't really give her much thought. But I was like, oh, dude, this girl is good.
Oh, dude. If you ever if you're interested in seeing something, like seeing the length of her acting chops and like how talented she is, just watch that show on HBO, Euphoria. And if you ever get a chance, because like she is like, it's hard to see, because she's Mary Jane, teenager, blah blah blah, and then in this one she's like a drug addict, dealing with all these problems with family and real life adult stuff. So but no, she is incredibly gifted, talented actress. Amazing. And like we were saying, this is the best Tom Holland acting he's ever done in the Spider-Man movies, I should say.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they're only 24 or whatever, or maybe younger. So they're really like the next generation's incredibly well talented actors. So kudos to everybody.
Yeah, everyone just performed really well. I think, I mean, obviously, just finding out that he is everyone finding out that he's Spider-Man, like how it impacts even the people that he cares about more than him, just as much, if not more, than Spider-Man himself. So, and then of course Doctor Strange's role was really good. I love this fight that they do in the mirror dimension. That was
my god, that was epic.
That was like epic. It was like Inception times like on steroids, basically.
It was like it's almost like a mini sequel to Doctor Strange. It was in Doctor Strange 1 that they go through all that, and it's really visually incredible. So they do this mirror dimension thing again. I get how Peter gets away with the I forgot what it's called, but the box thing, the magical box that could send him back.
Yeah.
I just find it a bit hard to believe that it's like, oh, this place uses geometric sequences. I know geometry, and then he traps Doctor Strange in there. Really? Like, I don't know. That's
it was hard. It definitely was a lot more fantastical, but I guess somehow they needed to. I don't know. Maybe the writers were like, "Oh, we have this cool fight, but we need to end it somehow." I mean, I'm pretty sure they just started throwing idea after idea, and they're like, "Wait, hold on. We have to end this." Oh, geometry. There you go.
And they also need to sideline Doctor Strange for a bit because it needs to be a Spider-Man
for quite
movie.
a bit, yes, but yeah.
Yeah, and I get that. I just it's hard to buy that Spider-Man himself can trap a magical based character in a magical based dimension. Like, that's hard to believe. That's all.
Yeah, that was, I guess that's one big. That was weird. I will be honest. That was.
I'll let it go.
When I think about it, I mean,
if I could real quick, I lots of gear. I do want to, but in the villains, I feel like the underrated one was Electro. I feel like this. We're seeing Jamie Foxx just having fun. Like, he is way better Electro, hero, kind of like a villainous, background than way better than the Amazing movie. Oh my God. Like, and he had that all blue electricity design thing. And just like, he looked weird. This one, he has his physical form of Jamie Foxx, and he has a lot of humor, and he's interacting with all the other villains. It's like, I fell into a electric thing at Eels, and he's talking to Sandman, who also went through that, and he's like, you got to watch where you fall.
Yeah, I know.
So I liked him.
Sandman, it was cool to see Sandman. I was like, oh shoot, okay, that's interesting. They got him too. I mean, it was weird that I think I liked how it was basically like the reverse, like, because Octavius turned good, but Sandman went to the villain side. I like that the fight was the 3 Spider-Men versus, not Octavius, all 3, the Sandman, freaking Electro, and the Lizard. I like that it was those 3 versus, Octavius. He's more like, becomes a good guy, and he helps with fighting Electro. I like that Green Goblin was more of a personal fight for Tom Holland.
Oh my God.
And I mean, I was just thinking about this a couple of days ago, from 2 days ago to even now. The end, obviously, Tom Holland Spider-Man overpowers Green Goblin, and he's just punching the crap out of him because he killed Aunt May. He even says when Aunt May dies,
full vengeance mode.
He says, "I'm going to kill him." Like, he wants to kill the guy. So he actually is about to take that glider and stab him. Which one, by the way, looked like the mirror image of, John Walker from Falcon and Winter Soldier, about to raise his shield and, stab that flag smasher guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
it was like a mirror image. But I also like the fact that it was Toby Spider-Man that stopped him.
He stopped him.
Because one, yes, killing doesn't bring the dead back. Moral reasons.
And that's not Spider-Man's character. Yeah.
But I also have a feeling that he did it for a bit of a selfish reason, because Norman Osborn's death is what led to the erosion of his friendship with Harry. But if Harry Osborn, and you know, obviously, I mean, yeah, in
Yep.
the end, in Spider-Man 3, obviously Harry turns good and helps, you know, Peter and actually gives his life, which, you know, great, noble sacrifice. But see, if Norman Osborn never died, then Harry Osborn would have never died. Well,
Yeah.
not at least not in the way that he died in the original movie. So
It was beautiful. It was redemption. Tobey Maguire, and they are very smart with the way they chose to do that, because he not only saved he saved Tom Holland from killing him, and then we're going back in time 20 years to the first Spider-Man. He's now able to save Norman from his own demise by his own glider. Isn't that incredible? Like you're literally tying a story from 20 years ago in the first movie. That's amazing.
yeah,
That is incredibly well done. Yeah.
it was. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, wait, yeah. I mean,
Yep.
he did it because of that. That makes more sense. So, I mean, they're probably not going to do it. But if I do wish though, in the end, they did show like how some things were different in the respective universes. But
I see. Like
it's
a
not
sequel.
yeah, I wanted to see like legit. I wanted to freaking see, you know, Peter and Harry and MJ, you know, sitting in a coffee shop together, you know, just to show that. Oh,
Man.
I mean, a little quick short. But then again, I think James Franco is, you know, I'm sure he charges by the minute, so I'm pretty sure he's a little,
Dude,
you know,
whenever you get a chance, rewatch that original trilogy. I bet you're
yeah,
gonna feel a lot different about it. And like we take it for granted, like and this could be a whole different video and topic, but in the 2000s to 2010, that decade, the Spider-Man trilogy, the Batman trilogy, and then which is got two there, and the X-Men original 3 trilogy
yeah,
were kind of like the defining superhero movies. Like they changed the superhero game. So they will forever be in movie history, like should be regarded as like a game changer in the superhero genre.
oh yeah,
And the Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, like it's like thank you for that trilogy and opening the doors to
yeah,
now the MCU and all this. So
yeah. So I mean,
I'm
now
really
you brought up the X-Men. Now,
yeah.
obviously, like I said, the big looming element that we have to you know, focus on is the multiverse. So could this be a gateway for some of the X-Men to come into the MCU? I mean, it's probably not going to be like every single X-Men. Like for example, I don't see Halle Berry donning the Storm gear again. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think right now we can have freaking, you know, Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, and you know, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, and of course Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Those three, I'm pretty sure could show up. I don't know, Cyclops, Jean Grey, all these people. I don't know about that, frankly, but I can definitely tell that at least Wolverine and Professor X could, you know, showing up would not surprise me. You know, like it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not
Excited
saying
to see. Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me at all. And also, I mean, like, yeah, I mean that could be the new Avengers. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I think also now that they're also doing like a Blade series or something with Mahershala Ali. He also was he was actually the villain, one of the first villain in Luke Cage. I think what was Copperhead, I think that was his name. I'm not sure, but now he's coming back as Blade. I mean, if we see an interaction between him and Wesley Snipes,
Ooh.
you never know. Yeah, I need to go back and watch the original Blade movies too. They always intrigued me. Like,
Yep.
I couldn't watch it as a kid because it came out when I was like 6 or 7. So there's no way in hell my parents would have let me see that movie. But you know, I can go back definitely and watch it again now, and whatnot. But I mean, so there's a lot of potential here because, you know, the whole multiverse thing. So
okay, so we're at the end of the movie here, and did we touch on the fact that how it ends, like that they do the spell and now
yeah, So we can do we can talk about that. So no, go ahead. You can talk about it.
So now Peter Holland, understanding that his choices led to the actions of the multiverse opening, and the shape of reality is messing up as we know it. The fabric of reality, as Strange says. So he's like, all right, you know what? Aunt May is dead, which that's an interesting. How he goes forward is going to be really interesting. And he went through all this movies events. He went through all the Avengers and Endgame and everything. And the sacrifice is everyone forgets who he is for real, including MJ and his best friend Ned, which is sad. Yeah, and I guess all the other Avengers, and now he is like solo by himself, Spider-Man, and gets his own apartment and just is ready to really be Spider-Man by himself without any other superhero help. That's really incredible. That's like a surprise to me. I don't know about you.
I think one good Easter egg though, when he went to this apartment and the guy's like, rent's due first of the month. That just went me. Did
you notice that?
Yeah, that just go back to rent. I was like, oh.
Dude, I think that apartment he's in is literally the same building as the original movie.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised because the design of it looks really, really similar. Yeah. So I can definitely see that. I think I think that could be interesting. I liked the way that the interaction with MJ now that she's forgotten him. I liked it. He was ready to go in and try to be like, okay, I'm gonna jog your memory, and he had like everything written down, but he's just like, hi, my name is Peter Parker. Can I get a coffee?
Yep.
And that's all he does.
Forget it. Yeah.
And he just leaves it at that, which. And also I get it. Either he can try to, remind her later, or maybe he thinks she's better off not knowing him because. Sorry.
She had the bandage.
Yeah, she had the Band-Aid, but also she's like better off knowing who he is, not knowing who he is because he doesn't want her to get hurt.
This leads me to a big question, which cannot be answered until we get a next movie, basically.
Okay.
Is I don't understand how this memory erasing spell is going to work. Since if you're MJ and Ned, and who else is, well, I guess the Avengers, but I guess those two in particular, they're the past two movie events, I guess all three movie events is intertwined with their past, with their own actual past, and knowing Peter and knowing Spidey and all those things, the journey they went through is linked to their own past events. He didn't use a time stone to erase the past and go back in time and that sort of thing. He erased their memory through the spell, but I don't get how that's supposed to carry out when their entire past is linked to him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's like that all happened. So.
I think the thing is like the whole spell. I mean, I just thought about this. Maybe it wasn't so much erasing their memories as it was rewriting it. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
It's like rewritten. It's just take Spider-Man, Peter Parker out of the equation, but it's actually Ned and MJ who are actually best friends. So
yeah,
I mean, and again, this is just a speculation, so maybe it was just a spell that was rewritten. Now I don't know if we want to talk about the post-credit scene yet, or is there anything else that you want to discuss?
I'm cool. Is there anything else? I'm glad we got to get on the memory erasing spell thing, because that's bugging me. It's like, dude, we're not changing time now. We're not doing that again, like Avengers. But everything in their events happened in that order with the Avengers movies and such. So if you're not erasing someone's past, but it's linked to someone's story, but now you're erasing the memory of that person, I don't understand how that's going to work going forward. But because everything else happened. I mean, they went through high school, and this guy and Spider-Man, blah blah blah, did his thing. So that's my biggest kind of what if situation going to happen now. But
That's
I'm excited to see the next movies.
for sure, yeah. And now I guess we can get into the post-credit scene. Or I mean, I don't know. I think there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. I forgot. No, nothing else.
Oh,
really.
did we? We almost forgot. So now Ned is magical now, like out of
Oh
nowhere.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, hey,
He's the one who actually brings in the two Spider-Men. That was cool. That was interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because like
People
that
went crazy when that happened, right?
yeah, that plus when he was like falling off the little scaffolding or whatever, not scaffolding, the little like the beams, and
Yeah.
the cape was what saved him. So
Yeah.
does that mean that he's gonna be like perhaps an apprentice to Doctor Strange? Will he show up in Multiverse of Madness? I mean, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean that would be pretty cool. I think. I mean, yeah, Ned. I think honestly, it just broke me to see that Ned forgot him more than MJ. Really.
Yeah, they were best friends.
Yeah, they were best friends for a while. I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, MJ was his girlfriend, but I mean, these two were like from childhood. Like, imagine just erasing the memory of your childhood. That not well, I'm going to say rewriting because I don't want to say erased. Imagine just rewriting that memory and doing that. Yeah.
And I will say the fact that Holland, Spider-Man, Peter, he for his character development, for his ongoing story arc, like that is a very bold choice to do. And
Yeah.
I applaud the writers and I applaud them because I think we know that whether you're a superhero or an incredible character at all in any kind of fiction, you have to make difficult decisions and choices, and every choice is builds your character into the best version of themselves or so. And I love that he made that sacrifice for the better of the whole world basically and the multiverse, because he realized that it's his kind of a lot of his doing that led to the mess. So that's his way of fixing it, but it did cost like pretty much all friendships and relationships that he's had. And now granted, unfortunately they killed Aunt May, but that's for his development too. But that's a really bold choice, and I applaud them for doing that.
I'm actually glad that because of that, Aunt May didn't magically return, and that, I mean, like I feel bad that she died, but I'm also like, sometimes a lot of characters like they'll die and they'll come back, and we'll just say, "Oh, comics," and that's like our escape, using it as like a crutch. I'm glad that Aunt May is dead and that she's not coming back. That sounds like a terrible.
That sounds a little dark, but yeah, I get what you mean.
I know I'm bad. I sound like a terrible person, but like the character of Aunt May, she's not.
It's important for Peter's.
It is important for her to not magically return. I'm sure. I mean, although I think he's learned his lesson and he's not going to ask Doctor Strange to bring her back. If you Marvel's What If, you know what happens when you try to.
I went and rewatched the Doctor Strange one, and wow, that is.
I think that's my favorite one, honestly.
So now let's get into the post-credit scenes. The second one is a trailer.
No, the first one. Let's talk about the first one.
All right, we'll go with the first one.
Yeah, the first one, Eddie Brock. I think after the events of Let There Be Carnage, he's somehow transported to the MCU, and he learns from pretty much the whole bartender. The bartender literally just talks about literally the entire MCU phases. He goes through all 3 phases.
Everything.
I don't know. Is he like the new? Huh?
What? Yeah, he was like, "There's a Tin Man who went into space and Bolt Billionaire." What?
Yeah, he's like the new Michael Pena's character in Ant-Man. I don't know. I forgot his name, but yeah, Michael Pena's character in Ant-Man is not replaced by the bartender. It's funny, they're both Hispanic. Just anyway.
Yep.
But and it's interesting because he transported back to, I guess, his timeline, but he left a little bit of that Venom symbiote. But see, now that, and I saw a theory somewhere, now that, I mean, obviously, Tobey Maguire had to stop Peter from killing Green Goblin. He doesn't have that anymore. He's lost everything. So obviously I think he would be more receptive of that symbiote. So we could see, the symbiote suit for Spider-Man in the near future.
I thought they talked about Tobey's Spider-Man. I'm like, wait, what? You mean Holland, right?
Yeah, Holland. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, I don't know if that would have the Tobey and Garfield, if that would warrant Tobey and Garfield to come back again. But yeah, I mean, it was just. I think it would be.
I was a bit confused when Venom's in there and Eddie and they're learning about everything, and then in the end of Carnage, spoiler, he sees the TV of the beginning of No Way Home, basically, of like Peter's identity revealed. So he's there already. So that's basically pre-multiverse from No Way Home. Mm-hmm. So he gets transported there, but then after No Way Home, and then after you learn everything, he gets sent back. He's just gone now. I guess back to Sony verse. And
that's because maybe
but I guess
that
his symbiote is there.
So like when that when the everything started opening up, maybe that's in that time span. That's when he was learning talking to. I think that was happening parallel to the movie. Maybe I think that could be. So it's not after the movie; it's like parallel to the movie. Because like remember in Infinity War when Thanos did the snap and everyone started disappearing. Nick Fury started disappearing and everything. That was happening parallel to the snap. It wasn't.
I see what you're saying. The timeline is.
I think it was parallel. I think it was just parallel to that. But I mean, seeing Venom in some form could be interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Flash Thompson got the symbiote on him, and maybe they made him like I don't know. Was he Agent Venom? I forgot, but.
I think you're right. I don't have too much comic history or whatever, but I think I saw from one of those comic channels that he was a version of Venom. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Making Flash Thompson could be Venom, or I mean, but it'd have to be coming from Peter Parker still, because I think we still need to see the black suit Spider-Man done right this time. But I mean, like the suit design was nice in the Tobey Maguire, but like the movie wasn't as good. So hopefully,
so that's exciting.
Get a good Spider-Man movie featuring the black suit and the symbiote. That is something that needs to, I think, is going to happen at some point here in the near future.
It'll be the MCU they don't really shy around the fan service and doing characters justice and stuff for the most part, like in this movie. So I'm not worried about that. Now the second. The post-credit scene, the Doctor Strange trailer. Wow. I had to rewatch What If, and if you haven't watched What If, you won't understand. Like there is a dark Doctor Strange, and that is freaking scary because he's so powerful. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
And he's in this movie. Oh my god! So I'm excited about that.
That could be interesting. And then, of course, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I can't say his name. I'm sorry. But his character.
It's a hard name.
Yeah. His character is also coming back. He's got dreads and everything, which is cool. So I don't know if he's going to side with Strange Supreme or Doctor Strange. But he did say that, the enemy that we're fighting is you. So perhaps he's going to side with Doctor Strange and, reluctantly. Wow. Of course, Wanda Maximoff, after WandaVision, we see her.
The real Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder how, I mean, obviously he's asking her for help. So, and it's funny, he knew about Westview. So that is very, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I was thinking, of course,
he knew about Westview. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it's just cool that they actually acknowledged it. So so they knew about Westview, and then he said, "Okay, I need your help." So we'll see. And then we have the big eye monster now. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if that's the main villain or if the main villain is Strange Supreme. So didn't Strange Supreme in What If absorb a monster similar to that?
He absorbed like hundreds of monsters, and got the power. So probably, It's gonna be so visually insane, like I can't even imagine. The What If series is already visually incredible and really
It is.
beautifully well done. The Doctor Strange one, I saw it again. That is like some of the most. That's like a visual feast and the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen
Oh yeah.
in an
Oh yeah. It's
animation.
so good.
And it's kind of like a Disney's Fantasia and this sort of thing. And wow, I it is like it's kind of scary if they're gonna show that guy in the movie because he was heartbroken and he was super grief stricken, like as bottom as it gets, and he just his better self never like held him down, and he just it's the same as Anakin in Star Wars and anyone that goes down.
Yeah.
It's basically they're a heartbroken, depression, grief-stricken person that just goes to the dark side, and now they're dark, and that's the road it takes. And Yoda's right again, and it's gonna be crazy to see that in the movie. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I'm looking forward to seeing the multiverse of madness. I mean,
Oh,
I don't think it's, but even that, I don't feel is like the culmination of this entire arc. I think that's just gonna, because like they explored it a little bit in WandaVision, and then Loki came around, and they were like, oh, so there is a multiverse, and it really talked a lot more about multiverse. And then we came to What If, which basically is a look inside the multiverse, and then now we have No Way Home, where they the multiverse is getting less and less stable, and now in Doctor Strange, yeah, it's gonna. I think it's obviously gonna come back and bite them in the ass, but I don't. I think there's definitely more to it. Like Kang the Conqueror, for example. Yeah, they killed him in Loki, but he said there's another version of him out there, so he could
spoiler for everything we just said.
Yeah. Yeah, if you watched, I mean, if you haven't watched, if you haven't watched
any of them, it would be, yeah. And you know what? On that point, this is a whole different point, but it's on the same topic. I hope people appreciate the older superhero movies, all of them, because those days are gone. There pretty much will never be superhero movies that are not universe building movies anymore.
Right.
Pretty much. That's what makes me love like the original trilogy now even more. So thank you, Toby and Raimi and all those people who.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
Those days are gone, and it's like it's nostalgia, and it's it's a simpler time. It was a simpler time, and we were younger. We were just appreciating that.
Like even with even with the Dark Knight trilogy, that was like its own thing, but now
its own thing, yeah, and one of the greatest. And it was simpler times, and we are grateful for those movies as huge fans and as 30 plus millennials.
Right.
And now everything is universe building. Everything has to be a connected universe, which is also a new dream come true for comic book fans, because that's what comics are. Comics have always done that, and they even did crossovers with DC and Marvel in the comics.
They did that, yeah. They did that
a couple of times. Now, in a movie, probably not gonna see that, but in the comics, at least, that is there.
If we, should we ever see that, we'd probably see it in like maybe Lego fashion, because Lego has the rights to both DC and Marvel. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they do, because they did Marvel Lego Avengers and then Lego DC Villains.
Yeah.
So they did both those games. So we could see that kind of a game. That's probably our best bet. Other than that, just YouTube, Marvel versus DC, and just see some of like the animations that you want. That's gonna be it, man. We're probably not gonna see the Marvel versus DC thing anytime soon, because there would be so much outrage. I'm telling you right now.
That's a whole different topic. But I was talking to my buddy with the movie. That has to do with conflicting interest and different studios having different rights, and they are competition, so it's not like Apple and Samsung are going to suddenly, collaborate on a phone. That's gonna, that doesn't usually work in that regard. So it's the same idea, but all good. But I just want to say thank you to everyone involved here. Thank you to Sony and Disney for making this a reality.
Shout out to them.
If you're a Spider-Man fan at all, you're gonna love it. If you love the originals, you're gonna love it, and if you love the MCU, you're gonna love it. So that's just some final thoughts there. But I'm very happy.
I'm just excited to see like what is to come for the MCU and how it's gonna just change the landscape of everything. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. But oh yeah. After overall, man, great. What an experience it was. It was like a roller coaster ride from start to finish. Yes. And it was a ride that I did not want to get off of, I guess. Yeah. It was great.
Like when they jumped together and landed, that is the most crowd pleasing clapping in the theater moment. And since I haven't felt that since the end of Endgame, when the Avengers are assembling, like I haven't felt that feeling, and that feeling is magical. And kudos to you, Disney and Marvel, for making that happen, because that is how I'm gonna buy these tickets for these movies for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I think we've gushed all and talked about all we wanted to talk about. So, hope you guys enjoyed Spider-Man: No Way Home. If you have seen it, let us know in the comments what you thought about the film. And as always, thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys next time for another one of these. Hopefully we can get all four of us in the same room at some point next year. We'll figure it out. But until then, thank you all so much. And, Mosh, say bye to the people, and we will catch y'all later.
Peace on.
Bye.
Peace out, everyone.
All right.